Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to my channel, Embodied Spirituality. My name is AshantéMarie. I recorded my first video, and it was about 8 tips on how I lost 90 pounds and kept it off. But in editing, I realized that it's a little long, so I decided to split it into 2 parts. This first video is about how I lost 90 pounds and kept it off. Here are some before and after pictures. Here are some before and after pictures. Let me first start by introducing myself. For the majority of my life, I grew up overweight. I was super unhappy with where I was, and I always wanted to get healthy, and I tried, and it didn't work a lot of times, or it did, just temporarily. And then I finally got to a place where I actually healed myself and was able to drop the weight, all the weight that I wanted to drop, and even more. I didn't intend to lose 90 pounds when I first came into this journey. I actually intended to lose around 65, 70 pounds and then kind of go from there. And I did. And now I'm 90 pounds down, and I'm probably going to lose some more. So this is just, the beginning of this new lifestyle for me. This is not just the beginning, but this is beginning of a new whole me. Jumping right in, the first thing on my list is it's an inner journey. So stepping into the full mindset of I am going to lose this weight and this will be the real time that it's gonna happen. I have full faith. What I had to do for myself was really understand that it was for me first. I had to know that it was for me. A lot of times after I got out of a relationship or whatever, I used to be well, I'm going to lose weight. Or the next time, because losing weight was always on my path, right? I always felt once this person broke up with me, the next time they see me, I'm going to be, looking like $1 million, right? And that wasn't always the case. Now that's the case, but that wasn't always the case before. And in that stage, I would have been doing it for them versus myself. So my tip to you is to, 1, make sure that you're doing it for yourself, but 2, also don't tell everybody about it. Do not tell everybody about it. Don't be you started eating healthy and you started working out and telling everybody, well, I started eating healthy and I started working out, because you know what? You have a lot of haters out there, and haters just be haters, and not necessarily is it directed towards you. Sometimes they just be hating. So it's better to keep to yourself so that you can really focus and hone in on what it is that you need to focus on in order to actually be successful at what you want. Not everybody gets to know what's important to you, right? One of the instances that stick out so much in my head is, I don't know, however many years ago, when I had tried losing weight before, I had gotten down about 20 pounds. And I told my cousin, hey, look, I'm super excited. I was proud of myself because I hadn't really lost any weight like that before in my life. So I had lost 20 pounds. I was excited. I was excited to keep going. And I told my cousin, and the first thing he said was, well, how long until you gain it back? I was so distraught. I can't even tell you. My heart broke because I was still young, and I was still sensitive to my weight loss journey. It wasn't something that I could have anybody criticize and me be able to roll with the punches. I still needed to do some work in order to get to that place where it could be water off of my back. But at that point, I was at such a vulnerable space, and that's what happens when you lose weight too. You become vulnerable in different instances. But I was at such a vulnerable space that it actually stopped me in my tracks, and I did gain all the weight back. And it was because I lost the faith in myself. The little faith that I had, it was gone. It went out the window. So I say that to say, keep your journey to yourself. Sure, tell some people that are really important to you, that you really know is going to have your back and support you. But on the low, like keep your shit private. Okay? Everybody doesn't get to know. And even once you actually achieve your goal, like people will notice, people will take notice, but there's still going to be haters out there. The ones that you even think that are like your best friends or whatnot, they're going to be haters. And it's not because of you, it's because of whatever they're dealing with within themselves. So first, don't take it personally. But if you feel like that's something that's going to be hard for you to hear, keep it to yourself and keep it pushing. Now, once you develop your new shell, right, and make sure that it's thick enough to receive any negativity and you be able to like blow it off, then go for it, have your way. But in the beginning, I would keep it to yourself, do what you need to do, buy the food that you need to eat to make it better, prepare it well, exercise, go to the gym. I used to go to the gym at night, because that was just like a comfort for me. And I didn't tell anybody about it. Like the only people who really knew was like my mom and my sister and my nephew. They knew I was going to the gym and they knew I was trying to lose weight. But there's been many a times in my life that I was trying to lose weight. So to them, it probably wasn't anything like super different, right? But for me, on the inside, I knew it was different because I knew that this time was going to be different. So number 2, cleaning out your space, cleaning out your physical space. So 1, cleaning out your surroundings. If you're one of those people who eats in their bedroom and stuff like that, or if you're hiding food and snacks and stuff in your room, like clear that out of your room. Make it harder to access. Not only that, maybe just clear it out of your house so it really isn't accessible unless you go out to do certain things. But don't keep things in your house that you know are not going to benefit you in the long run, especially if it's something super unhealthy that is unnecessary. Also, clean up your diet in terms of what you're ingesting. So if you watch TV on a regular basis, and standard commercialized regular TV, what's happening is that you're getting pumped with all of these images of cheese and pizza and hamburgers and sugary sweets, and you're rarely getting, fruits and vegetables. And if you do, you'll get like a cranberry juice commercial or orange juice commercial that's also filled with hella sugar. So it's really whatever you're ingesting, from outside of you, that's what you're going to crave. That's what you're going to think about. That's what's in your mind. That's what's in your Rolodex. So if you're watching standard commercial TV, avoid commercials. Change the channel, go to something else, do on demand, go take a trip, even work out during the commercials. Just, the commercials are going to be 2 minutes long, 3 minutes long, however minutes long. Go and do something with it, right? Or better yet, if you have like a TV where you can pause it and it's like regular TV, put it on pause, go and do something else for about 10 minutes. Then you can fast forward through the commercials, start the show back up. Once you get to the commercial again, you'll have space to fast forward again, right? If you're not watching regular TV, I would say be mindful of what you are watching and what you are consuming, right? A lot of shows, a lot of modern day shows, even daytime television, they pump a lot of alcohol in their shows. Everybody has a glass of wine. Everybody has a glass of something, right? Everybody has something to drink. There's alcohol everywhere. And if you're seeing that, and if you have a relationship with alcohol like that, it may encourage you to drink more alcohol than what you normally would. So clear that up. Then next, your social media. Now, when I first started my weight loss journey, I was following healthy people and like some yoga people too, but I also followed a couple of like food pages, so I can get ideas about how to cook food or something for cheap, especially since I was like college-y area. And with doing that, with seeing my page, I would still get a lot of the images of the cheesy things and the sundaes and like all these things that you can crave and want, or the potatoes. Oh my gosh, potatoes. I love potatoes. Even now I still like potatoes, but in their time. And sweet potatoes are a good replacement for that. They're actually really healthy for you. And if you're a brown person, it's in your DNA. So yeah, if you're on social media, you want to limit the pages that you follow that won't actually, like, what you're ingesting is super important to how you make the choices that you make in life, right? Commercials are there for a reason. Like, what was the original intention for a commercial? What's the original intention for an ad? And people's pages are ads and commercials. If it's not sponsored, then it's their own brand or their own thing that they're trying to promote. So I would encourage you, follow fitness health pages, follow people who are cooking whole meals, follow vegetarian, even if you're not vegetarian or vegan or not even really interested in doing the whole nine, like following more pages like that where you're seeing greens and you're seeing more colors on the plate, it'll make you want and crave greens and colors on your plate, which is healthier for you in the long run. They say eat the rainbow, not Skittles, okay? Not Skittles. Eat the rainbow from the food that comes from the ground or off of trees. Okay. The second part of that, of clearing your space, is also clearing out your physical space. So a lot of times when I get stuck or stagnant in certain places in my life, it's because my physical space is a little crowded. Whether my room is messy, whether it's just disorganized, or maybe I just have too much stuff. Sometimes you just gotta do a haul, gotta clear some shit out, put some things away, really go on an organization tour, like clear out your space. And once you clear out the space, you'll actually feel lighter and you'll feel free and you'll feel like you can do more things and that you can step up to the plate in other areas of your life. So it's important for you to actually clear out your space the best way that you can. Super important. All of my things are super important. Let's ask me, right? Number 3, self-care, right? Because I grew up overweight, I also grew up kind of not liking myself. And I hate to say it, but there was a piece of me that really didn't like me. Like, I hated pieces of me. And that also created habits that reflected that. Whether it be just not indulging in certain things, like taking care of my body as well as I could, or my space, like I said, as well as I could. That was a reflection of how I felt about myself. So self-care is a way where you can give back to you, where you can learn to love you, where you can learn to care about you, and actually reap the benefits of self-care. And so there's many forms of self-care. You can, the standard manicure, massage, right? But like spiritual baths are really good. Going for a walk, taking a break, taking time off. There's a lot of people I know who will not give back to themselves because we live in this world, and I'm in California. So because we live in this world, we're grinding hard, working all the time, day in, day out. And it creates this culture where you're too busy giving to other people, giving to the man so that you can make the check, that you're not actually using any of the check to take care of yourself, or even taking the time that they give you. If they give you sick time, take off a day. If you need a day, give yourself time, okay? Give yourself permission for it first, and give yourself time. You need the rest. You need whatever you need. Another thing that I did in self-care, I went natural. So I used to straighten my hair all the time. And that wasn't super healthy for my hair. So I changed not only the products that I use, but I stopped straightening my hair as much. I only use natural products. I would even change, like, outside of my hair, I changed the products that I used on my skin and in the bath. Like, what I use is more natural. And it actually makes a difference. It actually makes you feel better and lighter and free again, and wholesome. It really feels wholesome because it doesn't feel like all of these things that are stripping away pieces of your skin or the oils that you really need that are natural to you. And that's super important. Getting a plant, being in nature, going by water, praying, right? Having a gratitude practice. Get a pet that you can take care of. That's also self-care. Pet your cat or your dog. Um, yeah, buy yourself flowers, go on a date with yourself, right? All of these things can give back to you. And that will help you change how you feel towards yourself and help you to increase the value, your value that's already there, mind you. Already there. This value is already there. This is to help you realize the value that you already have. Yeah, and self care is really about learning how to love yourself enough, learning how to love yourself enough to know when you need a break, learning how to love yourself enough to know that you need to do something spontaneous, learning to love yourself enough to know that you need to sit down and read a book because you haven't read one in 10 years, loving yourself enough to go for a walk when you feel like you've been stuck inside for too long, loving yourself enough um, to play. Like the word play is so, it was so beyond my frame of reference. I thought playing was just like for sports and kids, right? And like I would play, but it would be in sports. It wouldn't be like just being a kid, like letting your inner child come out and be free. Like playing is also a form of self-care. Go to a park. And if you need an excuse, if you have kids in your family or you have a close friend that has a kid and you're a cool person, um, go to the park with them and play around. Get on the monkey bars, like flip over, go on the swings, go down a slide. Like all of these things give back to yourself because it tells you that there's still more life to live, right? So that's what's important. That's what you need to do. That's why self care is important for everyone. Number four. Number four. Okay, learning about food. My shoulders are itching a lot. I hope I'm doing a good job. I hope that's what that means. Learning about food. So it's imperative. We all know that diet and exercise is like the main points of how you lose weight, right? But you really, because there's so much information out there and there's so many diets, paleo, gluten free, keto diet, vegan and vegetarianism, like all of these things, they give you low sugar, low carbs. Like, there's so many ways that people go about losing weight. I said it right the first time though. Go about losing weight that may not actually be healthy for them in general. You have to learn about your body. So one thing, you can go to a nutritionist or other food experts and stuff like that. I would suggest, if you have done a good amount of research yourself about certain things, I would kind of test things out and trial and error it, right? So I did try to be a vegetarian for a while, but I first started as a pescatarian for a little bit, and pescatarian went pretty fine for a bit. I did that for like 2 months, and then I transitioned into being a vegetarian for a little bit, and that only lasted a short while because I wasn't preparing a lot of foods, or if I did, I didn't like a lot of foods then. Like I didn't like zucchini that much then. I didn't like Brussels sprouts. Like so it made a lot of things limited. Excuse me. It made things limited in that space. So it was really hard for me to maintain being a vet. And then, mind you, you can be an unhealthy vegetarian, right? Like you can have carbs and cheese and still, like, if you're a cheese eating vegetarian, and still be putting like not healthy things in your body. And that's what I felt like I got to a point where it's like I felt like I wasn't really, like, my diet was like not as good as it needed to be. I'm like, yeah, I would do greens and stuff, but it wasn't like I was doing a plant-based diet. And plant-based, you know, that's one of the ones that I would actually like kind of highlight and lean into more, right? Because we just all need more fruits and vegetables. So learning about food. One of the other things that I did was getting into Ayurveda, right? Ayurveda is an Indian medicine system that kind of breaks down some things for you in terms of like body types and eating, right? So in Ayurveda, they talk about different body types. Like there's a Kapha body type, a Pitta body type, and a Vata body type. And when you look into these, there's like a slim, there's like a little bit more medium build, and then there's more of a stocky build. And so with that, first it gave me like awareness enough to know that we are all not supposed to be super skinny, real thin people, because that's just not how our bodies are built. But if you look into like regular modern medicine, they don't tell you things like that because they just have the BMI, right? And that's not always like consistent with body types, especially if you come from a brown culture, right? Our frames, our stock is built differently, and that was created for other people. Not to say that we can't live within those ranges, but it's just not as common for us, right? I was always like, I'm gonna be more of a stockier build, more athletic build. I'm not like, my shoulders are broad, my hips are wide, like I'm not supposed to be super skinny. And with that comes extra weight, right? So, learning about Ayurveda gave me the awareness, and it gave me some solace in knowing that like my body type is meant to be different than somebody else that I may be looking at on a magazine, right? Especially years ago. So from there, once you learn your body type, whichever one that is, and there's tests to figure that out. It's like questionnaires usually. To figure it out. And mind you, in different seasons, you can shift a little bit or at different points in your life. So even though I was one thing 3 years ago, I'm not the same thing that I am now that I was then. Yeah. And with that being said, like you learn how to eat for your type. Now, Ayurveda is a medicine system, and the eating system is a little bit more, it's kind of more leans into the plant-based. You know, they do kind of talk about poultry a little bit, but red meat is not advised for any of the types. Depending on what type you are, you can be in a balancing space. And if you're eating certain foods, like if you're Pitta, you're more of a fire type of energy. And if you eat things that kind of burn like fire, like fried foods, carbs, sugars, even though that's not good for any of them, not good for most of them, it really like heightens your Pitta, which will put you into overactive Pitta space, which causes its own dysfunctions, right? And with that, so learning about food and how food works in your body, if you figure out your body type and then look at the foods that they suggest and look at the foods that you should limit, then you kind of will get a better understanding as to why certain foods react to you differently, right? So it can help you shift your diet in a way. It's like, I know that when I'm feeling a little bit more fiery and I'm leaning into Pitta, like popcorn is not good for, like dry foods, crackers, like that's not good for me. Like that just heightens my Pitta and throws me into overdrive somewhere else. And then I'm craving sugar, and then it's all downhill, right? So you want, if you're in that space, you want more cooling foods. You want like cucumbers and watermelon and things that give you more watery, earth-based, more watery senses to kind of cool you down, to cool down your insides and your intestines. So I would just suggest learning about food more. Whether you just learn about nutrition by going to a nutritionist or learning about Ayurveda. Ayurveda is spelled Ayurveda. Doing that will help you to help yourself make better choices. All right. That was the first 4 tips on how I lost 90 pounds and kept it off. I hope you enjoyed it. Please like if you like this. Please like, share, comment, subscribe, really comment, give me some feedback. I'm looking forward to hearing what you guys have to say, what you guys have to think, so I can meet this tribe that's forming, this new budding tribe that I'm forming. So welcome to my channel. Again, I love you guys and see you later.